Hey, if you're wondering how to reach the splits in just a couple of weeks, well, get the fuck out of here. I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia, and in this video I'm gonna be showing you 3 exercises you can use to improve or master your front splits. But I must warn you, this journey might take you years or months of practice, alright? It has taken me, for example. But if you need a guide to reach your front split, you can watch this video or read my book, Split Stacking, which is the complete playbook to master the splits and drastically improve your flexibility level. So if you want to improve your flexibility level and master the splits, this book is for you, and you can check it out following the link in the description down below. But now, with that said, let's start. The flexibility guy, Coach Elia. Alright guys, so I want to start this video right here by saying that the front split is not an easy position. You have one leg in front of you, one leg back. The majority of people feel that the stretch is in the front leg, and following this kind of sensation, they stretch more the front leg. But it's not like this. The flexibility you need to achieve the front split is not in your front leg, but rather it is in the back leg. Because in the back leg you have your hip flexors, alright, which are the major responsibles of the flexibility you have in a front split. So during these 3 exercises I'm gonna be showing you, we're gonna focus our attention on the hip flexors, so on the flexibility of the leg, which is gonna stay back during the front split, alright? And the first exercise I want to show you is the buttock stretch. The buttock stretch is such a beautiful exercise. You start in a lunge position, alright, with your front leg with the knee at 90 degrees and with your back leg straight behind you. From that position, you drive your hips down as much as you can and you place some yoga blocks under your hips. Now, this is the lunge position, alright? What you want to do here to create this stretch is to keep your front leg at all times there. So you don't want to move your front leg. You just want to straighten your back leg without moving your hips from the position, all right? So you want to press your hips against the yoga blocks. That's why they are there, all right? Because when you lift your knee off the floor, so you do want to lift your back knee off the floor, all right? Can you see that my back foot is flexed? So I have my big toe on the floor and I'm pushing with my big toe to straighten my back leg. As I do that though, I don't want to move my hips, because if I moved my hips, I would lose the stretch on my hip flexors, all right? So you don't want to move your hips here. You go into a lunge position. You press your hips down, all right? You have your knee on the floor to start. But then when you want to go into the stretch, you press your hips down, you straighten the back leg by lifting the back knee off the floor and remaining on the floor with your back big toe, all right? So with your back foot. From that position, you're gonna be straightening your back leg, and in this way, you're gonna be stretching your hip flexors. A really good tip here I have for you is to think about driving your back heel back behind you. All right, the more you do that, the more you're gonna feel the stretch. Remember also that when you do this, you don't want to move your front leg. The most common mistake people make here is to drive the front knee out. You don't want to do that. So keep one hand on the front knee and one hand on the floor or on a chair or a bench. In this way, you're gonna be locking the position of your front leg, and you're gonna be locking also your torso position, which is really important, because if you flex your torso toward your front leg, you're gonna be feeling the stretch a little less. So I strongly suggest you start from this position here. Then as you get better, you wanna raise your trunk back and you wanna place your trunk perpendicular to the floor. So if you want to do that, you have to put the other hand on a chair or on a bench to raise your trunk up and get into the buttock stretch. This is the final variation. So remember, when you do want to go into the stretch, the back knee has to come off the floor, and you have to straighten your back leg by pushing your back heel back as much as you can. You can remain here 6 to 10 breaths, then you can put the knee down and repeat for 3 to 4 sequences, all right? Now, with that said, this is the first exercise, and this is a specific, really specific exercise for your hip flexors, the buttock stretch. Now, let's see the second exercise, the full split hamstring stretch. All right, the full split hamstring stretch, as the name suggests, is a position really similar to a front split, but it's not a front split, it's a little bit different. So, to do this exercise right here, you want to start, much like in a buttock stretch, in a lunge position, all right? Your back knee is on the floor, though. Then you take some yoga blocks, you put them under your front hip, and you straighten your front leg instead. All right, so your back leg remains exactly the same, like in a lunge position. But here you want to sit down, you want to sit with your glutes, with your hips on the yoga blocks, which are under your front hip, and you do want to straighten your front leg. All right, now it's really important that as you do this, you drive your trunk towards your front leg and you grab your leg with your arm. So you do want to grab the leg with the arm by driving the arm down, all right? You want to wrap your front knee with the arm, and you do want to pull the knee towards your chest until your chest is in contact with the knee. Your front leg has to be bent. All right, so you do want to have your front leg bent. From this position here, you do want to straighten your front leg, but remaining with your chest in contact with the knee at all times. All right, so you do want to straighten the front knee, but you do want to keep your chest in contact with the knee. So straighten the leg as much as you can, but don't lose that connection. And of course, depending on your flexibility level, you're gonna be feeling a really deep sensation of stretch on your front leg, hamstrings, and glutes. Then, as you get better and better, all right, you have 2 choices. The first one is to straighten the leg more and more until you can straighten it completely with your chest in contact with the knee. The second option, though, is to lower down the blocks, all right? So when you can almost straighten completely your front leg, you can remove one yoga block maybe, or just decrease the height of the blocks or something you have under your hips, and do the progression again from there. Now, the degree of your front knee is really important. So you want to start easy. Start easy. The most important thing is that your knee remains in contact with your chest. That's the most important thing. All right? So you want to start easy, and from there, step by step, you do want to straighten the front knee more and more, but your chest has to remain in contact with the knee at all times. Remember also here that since you're stretching your hip extensors, you have to straighten your back as much as you can. So keep your lower back straight and try to anterior tilt, so to open your hips as much as you can. This, though, is gonna be easy because this position here is really, really good for your hamstrings flexibility. So I'm suggesting you this position, but why? Because you are stretching your hamstrings in a way which is really, really special, because in this stretch you're involving also a little bit your back leg. Can you see, like, you are in a lunge position, so your back leg is much like in a lunge, much like in hip extension, all right? Can you see that it's not in a neutral position, it's a little bit extended, and by doing that your hips are in a position where the stretch of your hamstrings is gonna be really intense. It's going to be really intense because it's really similar to a split, but we are focusing our attention really specifically on the hip extensors, so on the hamstrings, on the glutes of your front leg, all right, in a position which is similar to a split, which is the final goal we have in this video right here. So if you feel that your hamstrings are pulling like crazy in a split, I strongly suggest you try this exercise. And also, if you want to build a split, try this exercise. This is one of the most important ones. The second one of this guide, the full split hamstring stretch. But now we are ready for the final stretch, the wall hip flexors stretch. Stay with me. All right, the third exercise of this guide is the wall hip flexors stretch. All right, as I said, the hip flexors, so the muscles of your back leg in a front split, are by far the most important muscles you have to stretch to reach this front split, all right? And with this exercise, you're gonna be stretching them like crazy, all right? All you have to do is to put one knee against the wall behind you and the foot on the wall as well. From that position, you want to take a step in front of you with the other leg, all right? And you want to start on top. You can grab a weight with the same hand of your back foot. So if you have your right foot on the wall behind you, you do want to grab a weight with your right hand. From that position, you want to start on top with your hips towards the wall, and from there you want to drive your hips down toward the floor. This is going to be stretching your hip flexors, so your iliopsoas, your quads, and your gracilis like crazy, I swear. But as you go down, you can do this exercise in two main ways. The first one is a dynamic way. So you want to start on top, you want to drive your hips down as much as you can. You reach the bottom position, you can take some yoga blocks under your hips to measure the depth of the position, and you can come back up and repeat that kind of movement 6 to 10 reps usually, all right? At each rep, you do want to stay in the stretching position a couple of seconds before coming back up. And the second way you can perform this stretching exercise right here is an isometric variation. So you do want to go down into the stretch, you do want to remain there more like 5 to 10 breaths, not seconds, breaths, and you can also apply some PNF contractions here. So as you are in the stretch, you can push with your back foot against the wall, you hold that contraction 10 to 15 seconds, then you stop, inhale, exhale, you get deeper into the stretch, and you try to move your hips down. Now, a common mistake people make here is this: as they go down into the stretch, they drive their front knee out, much like in a battle stretch. All right, so you know how to fix that. You gotta place your front hand, so the hand of the same side of your front knee on the knee, all right? And you'll keep that knee in the correct position. Now the other hand grabs the weight and you do the movement like that. Also, you have to put your front hand on the knee, because in this way you can adjust the intensity of the exercise. Since you're holding the weight, you want to make sure that the weight is helping you get deeper into the position. You don't want to resist to the weight. If you're resisting to the weight, if you feel that your muscles have to contract because the weight is too much, it's too heavy, all right? This means that you're doing it wrong. The weight is too heavy, pick a weight which is a little lighter and do the exact same work. But if you keep your hand on the front knee, you're gonna be adjusting the intensity because you can like take a little bit of your weight on that hand and like decrease the pressure on your hips, and this is gonna make the exercise more comfortable, all right? So two main variations here, and this exercise here is a really must if you want to reach your front split. But now for you, I have a special bonus for your front split. So if you are working on your front splits, stay with me and watch this last bonus. All right, guys, so I got a couple of tips for your front splits, all right? The first one, if you are working on your front splits, use some yoga blocks under your hips, all right? A lot of people are working on their front splits and they're trying to get deeper without a measure and without a way to measure their progress, all right? So you do want to take the yoga blocks under your front hip, not under your back hip, under your front hip. So you want to sit down on the yoga blocks when you do your front splits, and from there, hands on the floor or on some other yoga blocks as well, and you want to push the hips down towards the yoga blocks from there, all right? As you get better and better, you can remove the yoga blocks and get deeper into the stretch. Now, the second tip I have for you is this. If you're using the yoga blocks, you have to learn how to relax it there. Now, there are two main kinds of persons, all right? So the first kind of person is the person who stays there, but the muscles are really tight, all right? And she feels like, all right, I'm there because, but my muscles are too tight, are too strong. I can support the position, but it seems like I can't get any deeper, all right? To that kind of person, I suggest using a weight, all right? So take a weight in front of you and try to increase the weight and the amount of pressure you have on your hips. In this way, you're going to get deeper and deeper into the stretch, but use the yoga blocks under. The second kind of person I know is the person who stays there. Her muscles are really, really flexible, but she's not strong enough to support the position. She's afraid. She's afraid, like, if I remove the blocks, I would fall into the floor, but my muscles are not sufficiently strong to support the position. What should I do? And in that case, I strongly suggest using the blocks, relaxing in the position. When you feel safe, when you feel okay, use some PNF contractions to strengthen your muscles. So push with your front heel and your back foot against the floor. You're gonna be strengthening your muscles a little bit there. As you feel comfortable, remove the yoga block, move closer to the floor. Really two different approaches. The first requires a weight. The second requires more relaxation. Both require, of course, a little bit more relaxation, etc. But in one case, we have really strong, tight muscles. In the second case, we have flexible, weak muscles. Two different approaches, all right? But now, guys, that's all for this front split guide. A lot of material, you got a lot of material. And with these 3 exercises, I'm sure you're gonna be working on your front splits like crazy, and I'm sure that you can achieve the front splits as well using these 3. But if you have any questions, any doubts, and if you give these exercises a go, please let me know in the comments, all right? Also, if you have any questions, etc. Because I'm really happy to answer them all in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button and help me grow this YouTube channel. It means a lot to me, guys, and you know that, all right? So with that said, that's all for this guide from the Flexibility Guide. Coach Elia. Have a nice stretch and see you in the next video. Bye.